Hey folks, welcome back. Hills and Hollers Homesteading Prepping. Mike again, and this evening I got cut short for low fuel, so now I'm going to have to take the rest of the evening to go get a fuel run. So plan ahead for the spring for getting pigs in here. And I told you guys before, I want to make them utility pigs. I'm going to show you the area here. Okay, so this area here has been grown up. I've cut a lot of these old scraggly nasty dead topped cherries out of here to open this up a little bit more. And this is the spring, and it's hasn't worked specifically from where it was drilled and has a pipe coming out for several years now, but there's plenty of water still coming out of the ground here. So they had an old cast iron tub here catching the water, and we used to drink out of this thing. We used to go up here, fill our water bottles and water jugs up and everything in the summer and drink out of it while we were working. It's just as clean as could be. I mean, you're freaking 1,200 feet in elevation above everybody. Anything above you is the mountain and God. So, but you can see here there's still plenty of water coming out of the ground. So I don't know if there's an obstruction in the pipe or what, but my current project right now is getting all this stuff cleared out of here because there's a ton of brush. These are all briars right here. These little trees, I have no idea what these things are. They're all over the place. They get these little kind of oval shaped leaves on them and these little red berries, and they smell, everybody around here calls them a spice bush berry. I don't know what they are. They, because they're very fragrant, but these things will really overtake an area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out of here and with a chainsaw and run them through my chipper that I have for my tractor and just chip them up and get them out of here. This line I used to run water down over the hill to the bottom meadow. It's an old gas line, and I used it to run down water down to the bottom meadow several years ago when we had a couple cattle on here. But this is some of the area in here. You can see all this. It's just significantly overgrown with brush and brambles and briars and vines and just nastiness. And to get in here and physically cut this stuff out of here by hand, you're talking about an investment of a lot of time. And part of the plan with this is to get the pigs in here to do a lot of this work for us, and not only do the work for us, but also to give us fresh pig meat. We're gonna plant some bacon seeds. All right, so this is the area. Now the spring is right here, so I'm definitely going down here past the spring. All of this is from where they timbered this area up through here back in 2011, and I just started pulling all this out of here because there was a giant sycamore tree that stood right here, and these are the limbs and stuff that they cut off of it. So there's a mess right here. I'm gonna have to get in here with the chainsaw and just cut this little stuff out and run it through the chipper and all the way down and around there. So this is going to be the project for the next couple weeks anyways. So once I go get fuel for the tractor, we'll get this done. So here's what the plan is. Once I get this brush kind of cleared out of here, I'm going to pull some of this dirt down to this area here, kind of widen this a little bit. And this is where the main pen is going to be. And it'll be, I don't know, 16 by 32 maybe. And what we'll do is we'll put 3 gates on this. And with 3 gates, what I'll do is I'll run, this will be one paddock all the way out to almost to the house and then down. And here's the road I talked about in the previous video. It was originally the old access up here that we used to use years ago before we built the house up here. But what I'll do is I'll take this upper side, and this will be one paddock, and I'll run fence posts right down the middle of the road here, T-posts. And we're just going to use 2-strand or 3-strand or electric to keep the hogs in. I'll train them here in their pen on electric, and then we'll put a gate from the pen into this paddock, let them eat this paddock down. When they're done in here, when I think they've been in here long enough, I'll close this gate and I'll open this gate, and it'll let them down into the lower paddock. And this goes down to my bottom meadow, and I'll take just to the top of my bottom meadow and let them eat all of this down to the meadow there. This meadow all the way across through here is going to be sheep. I'm going to get a couple lambs to put in there, 2 or 3. And then I'll put a 3rd gate right here, and I'll separate this paddock about maybe right straight down through here to the top of the field. And then of course I have to run a 4-foot woven fence, square fence all the way, steel fence all the way across the top of there for the sheep. But then I'll make this a third paddock here and let them come in here. They can get everything all the way out and down, back down to the meadow on that side. And that'll get them in here, get this stuff eaten out of here. And it'll probably take a couple seasons for them to get in here and really eat this down. But I'll probably have them from May to October at the best. May to October, maybe even first week in November, something like that. And then next year I can run my next group set through here. But this is where we're going to let them run, make them utility pigs, so to speak, to get this kind of stuff cleared out of here. Because like I said, I'm going to open this up right in here, cut a lot of this stuff out, and kind of smooth this off right through here, and build their pen right here. And that way I can come right in, back the truck up here with the trailer, load the pigs off, load the pigs on, water, feed, everything right there to them, because I've got access to it up there. And then the road will split these two paddocks, and then I'll make this a third paddock over here. So there's still a lot of work ahead. I mean, what I'll probably end up doing is making the first paddock, and then while they're in there, I've got a few weeks to work on this lower paddock. And it's not hard work, but there's a lot of work to do. And then once I do that, move them out of here, move them into here, I can work on this one over here. So I'll have time, and hopefully, I hate to make a prediction like that, but hope to have the time to get this done. And this is all part of just being more self-sufficient, self-reliant. There's a moon. There it is. Yeah. So this is whole, anytime you look at prepping in general, any kind of self-sufficiency, self-reliance, it all kind of points back to a homesteading type lifestyle. And that's what we're working towards. You know, we've already raised meat chickens, so we'll be raising our meat chickens this year. Coming up, like we did last year, we'll probably do 2 runs of meat chickens. We'll probably raise 3 pigs, and we'll eat 1, sell 2 type of thing. And then the meat chickens will, we may share. But the pigs, you know, get 3, eat 1, let the other 2 pay for the other. So kind of get that going. And then a couple lambs for us. And then of course in the future, working towards getting the cattle and stuff in here. And they will be on the back side of the property. So they'll be farther, like this field right here. I'm going to kind of keep it for the chickens. It's more than what I'll use, but for now, like, I'll run the chickens on it. Maybe next year I'll run them in a different spot. But I want to run the chickens here again this year. And then there's the whole back meadow, and then that whole bottom that comes all the way around for the cattle. So that's the plans for that. And, you know, just self-sufficiency, self-reliance, build more and more. They just found that highly contagious or highly infectious avian flu in a commercial flock in Kentucky, and then in a pretty much a mixed barnyard or backyard flock in Virginia. So, you know, and all the time we're seeing, and they found another one in at a commercial plant of turkeys in Indiana. So, you know, it's all the time now anymore. Every time you click on a news feed or something like that, there's a warning out for a recall for, you know, listeria, salmonella, E. coli in your vegetables and stuff like that, or there's a recall on meat because there's glass in it, or there's metal in it, or there's E. coli in it, or just, you know, and now it's the avian flu. You just cannot trust what you're getting commercially anymore. And not only that, kind of converting myself and converting my family to an more ancestral type of diet. That's going to be, it's proven to be more healthy. I mean, if you think about it, 100 years ago, people in West Virginia were not eating pineapples from Hawaii. If they were, it was once in a very, very, very blue moon, and only then, and that was it. Most of the time they were eating what they grew in their garden, what they hunted, what they raised, and what was seasonal. And that's the whole part of the ancestral type eating. It's going to be more of a primal carnivore ancestral type of diet, where we're going to eat all the animals that we raise. We're going to eat our own eggs that we raise here. We're going to eat our own pigs, our own chickens, our own sheep, eventually our own cattle, you know. And I'd like to also include rabbits in that, to get some rabbits going too. But our orchard, we'll eat from that seasonally. So when the apples are ripe and the fruit's ripe, we'll eat that, but that's the only time that we'll eat it. We will continue to can from the garden and use it as needed for fillers throughout the year. you know, when growing season's off. But I mean, probably the most simplest way I could look at it is where we live, we should be eating what's available to us seasonally. And that is, again, the gardening, the fruit, the animals, and that's it. We shouldn't be eating stuff from Chile. We shouldn't be eating stuff from Mexico, from Peru. We shouldn't be eating stuff from Hawaii. I mean, what was it they said? Was it Idaho? Idaho or Iowa, one of the two. It's like huge grain belt, part of the grain belt. Well, Idaho, we know potatoes and stuff, but I think maybe it was Iowa. But like huge part of the bread basket, what they refer to the bread basket and stuff. Iowa alone imports 93% of their food. 93% of the food in Iowa is imported from other states and other countries. Why? Why are we doing that? It's, I don't know. It's a global taste, I guess. You know, to have exotic fruits and stuff like that. I mean, West Virginia, we could eat persimmons, we could eat pawpaws, we could eat apples, we can eat peaches, we can eat pears and berries, and we can grow watermelons and stuff like that, and strawberries, and even blueberries. We can grow all that here and eat it seasonally as it grows. But to eat watermelon or pineapple year-round or apples year-round that come from China and all this other stuff, is it any wonder that the health of America is where it's at today? You know, we're looking at cancer rates that are through the roof. We're looking at diabetes rates that are type 2 diabetes that are at epidemic levels. Truly not even a disease that can be spread from one person to another, but it's truly at epidemic levels. And you can track that right from the 1979-1980 food pyramid that the federal government recommended that we eat. So, you know, these are the kind of things we need to avoid. As far as breads and stuff goes, if you're not making your own bread and you're not doing it in a sourdough method, then you're not getting any good nutrition from the bread that you're eating, because, you know, our bodies are not meant to process the grains unless they are fermented, as in like a sourdough type of bread and stuff, or sprouted or something along those lines. But what you're buying in the store, it's no good for you. So, you know, we're learning more and more as we go along and trying to get ourselves as healthy as we can. And like I said, I've eaten some of the sourdough, the wild yeast sourdough that we've made, and it's good, and it hasn't caused me any trouble. And so far, my weight's staying pretty good. So I'm not gaining. I'm not having the side effects and stuff from it. So I'll still keep it at a minimum and continue to eat, you know, more of a carnivore type of diet. And then as we raise our own animals, more and more of that. So again, prepping, you know, good preparedness, good homesteading practices, putting the animals to work for us and get double duty out of them. They'll not only work for us, but they'll also feed us. And like I said, there's so much more, so much more to do. And this is just for the pigs. And like I said, this little area right here is going to be just a cleanup, a little bit of chainsaw work, some chipper work, a few hours here and there, and then you know, it'll be ready for me to build the pig pen. And I think I'm going to do a 16 by 32. I'll kind of wait and see what it'll turn out here, and that way, you know, because I want to go farther that way with it. That way it's below the spring. It's not above the spring anywhere. It's below the spring. And that way, you know, we don't look at any contamination and stuff. But there's plenty to do here. This is not the time of year to be burning a bunch of wood and stuff. And like I said before, as much of this as I can chip through my chipper, I'm going to, and just let the chips, you know, blow all over the place up here. Put that carbon back into the soil and that good decomposition back in the soil, instead of just burning everything up. Not that there's anything wrong with that sometimes, but you don't want to get in that habit of burning everything up. If you can chip it or stack it and let it just lay and decompose there, that's going to be better for your soil in the long run. So we're learning little by little, more regenerative practices as we go along. But, you know, good practice, folks, good preparedness. If things go to hell in a handbasket and the supply chain falters and the food chain falters and everything like that, you know, I want to be sitting in a position where we can just kind of look around and say, I'm glad we did this, I'm glad we did that. You know, we've got this steady supply, we've got this abundance here, and that's what we're looking for, is not enough to survive, but an abundance. And I just, there's no, again, stepping back in time is a leap forward in today's society. So get this global market and be as less dependent on it as we can. Raise my children in this kind of environment that way they can raise their own food and process their own food and everything right here on the property that we've been blessed with, and just kind of take it step by step from there. So it's a learning process. I'd like to have you all along for the journey with us. I'll Still probably not gonna do anything more than just little cell phone videos. That's about the best I'm going to get for you, because I'm not carrying a bunch of camera equipment around out here. I don't have the time to do that, and I don't have the desire to get fancy with commercials and videos and, you know, all this background stuff. So this is good enough background for me. But folks, if you like the content, please give us a like, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, tell us what you think, tell us what your thoughts are, what are your plans, and subscribe to the channel. That way you know this content's up. And take care, continue prepping, and God bless.